everyone, how's it going? Cloud here, and welcome to my guide on the Underground Pass quest. Now, for this quest you need the following requirements. So you must have completed the Biohazard quest and the Plague City quests, which are the prequels to this one, and you must also have a level 25 ranged. For recommended skills, 34 magic will come very handy, also a high agility level will come in handy as well, 43 prayer to enable protect from melee, magic and ranged will also be quite beneficial for the quest, and also a high thieving level is useful. If you don't have a very high thieving level, just bring extra food with you, as you'll be basically using that to deactivate traps, and if you have not got a high thieving level you do still get harmed by them, so hopefully that makes sense. And as for items, this is what you're going to need. So you need 2 ropes, however I recommend bringing 4 with you, as there's certain parts in the quest where you can lose your rope, and if that happens you may need to go back to the bake and get another one, which will be a pain in the ass. And you'll also need a bow and a few arrows. Just to note that Ogre, God, Broad, Dark and Ice arrows cannot be used for this, neither can Kale's charge bow, quick bow or a crossbow. So I would just bring a pretty bog standard bow with you, and like either iron or steel arrows. You're not going to be using those to fight anyone, literally just to get through some obstacles. The other items that I recommend, although you're highly going to need them, are some armour and weapon. Bring the best you can for either melee, magic or range, depending on what's your best skill, as you're going to have to fight a series of enemies. Make sure you've got plenty of coins in your coins pouch, because you can actually buy food from some dwarves during this quest, which will come very much in handy for you. Prayer potions will come in handy, especially if you're planning to use your protect from prayers, if you have the level to do so. So agility potions will come in handy. I recommend bringing at least 3 or 4 of those. That helps lessen the chance of you falling down traps, and definitely a form of emergency teleport. And these are the enemies you need to defeat. So the following are level 81s, Kalrag, Sir Harry, Sir Jero and Sir Cole. You'll have to fight 3 level 78 demons, Dumion, Ophanion and Holfion, and you'll also need to kill a level 44 Disciple of Iban. Now, just to make a note on this is quite a long-winded quest, so obviously I'm going to simplify this guide as much as I can. However, it will take you some time. That is mostly because of the sort of fail rate on a lot of the traps during this quest, which will make sense a bit further on, but you're going to need a bit of patience for this one, guys, so just bear that in mind before you start. But that is it for everything for requirements and items. Now onto the quest starting point. So we're currently at the Ardone Lodestone, which can be accessed via the Lodestone network. Now, you won't be travelling around really in the Lodestone network in this quest. However, if you do want to have full access to the Lodestone network for future quests, I have a guide which can be found in the description below, and I definitely recommend having that, as it speeds up completing the quest by quite a fair bit. But from here we're going to head to the quest starting point, which is to speak to King Lafast, who can be found on the first floor of Ardone Castle, which is roughly to the southwest of where we are now, so just watch where I'm going. So once you arrive in Ardone Castle, go to the first floor and speak to the king, and you'll find out that his brother has moved to the west, leaving his reign on West Ardone. You'll ask the king if his scouts have found a way through the mountains, and he'll tell you that the only way is through the alleged underground pass, which is riddled with cultists who answer to the name of an evil Lord Iban, the alleged son of Zamorak, and he'll ask you to check in with his tracker Koftik, who is waiting for you just outside the entrance to the tunnels. So, as the ruse about the plague is now known to you, West Ardone can be accessed straight through the front gates, which is obviously different compared to the prequel quest. We had to sneak in there before. So head to West Ardone, which is literally just next to the castle, and you can go through the main gates, and then you want to keep heading all the way west until you eventually reach the entrance to the underground pass. You'll definitely know it's the underground pass once you arrive, as it's got a massive sort of skeleton shaped head for the cave entrance, and you'll see the tracker Koftik outside, and you want to talk to him and he'll explain more about the pass and tell you to meet him inside. Now, the underground pass is a pretty tricky place to get through if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, so obviously do listen carefully to what I say to you during the quest. If at any time you happen to fall down any main traps, you might find yourself back quite a far bit, so if that does happen, just sort of play this video back to get back up to the point where you fell, and hopefully you shouldn't have too much trouble. But anyway, once you're ready, go inside the cave, and you want to head to Koftik, who is a bit further inside the cave. There's no main traps in this area. You can walk across any of these 3 paths, however the middle path is not advised, as sometimes the unstable ground can drag you under, which will deal a bit of damage. So if you want to avoid it, just use the other paths, but you want to go speak to Koftik once you arrive with him. So talk to him and he'll tell you it looks like there have been others in the cave already, and he'll tell you that he found a damp cloth along with a book. Speak to him a couple of times to get some damp cloth. So basically what you're going to do is use the damp cloth on your arrows that you brought with you, and then right click them to light the arrows, and you'll turn them into fire arrows. You might need a few of those because I think it is possible for you to miss what we're going to be aiming for in a minute. So if you want multiple damp cloths, just keep speaking to him and obviously applying them to your arrows and lighting them. Once you're ready and you've got a few fire arrows, equip the bow and obviously the fire arrows in your equipment, and you need, if you try to shoot the bridge guide wire from where he is, you'll get the message that you can't get a clear shot. So what you want to do is move into the small room to your north, and you'll look across the chasm and you can see where the guide rope holds up the drawbridge. Click on it and you'll fire your lit arrow on the rope, and if you succeed, the drawbridge will drop and you'll automatically run across the bridge. Now before you proceed, you want to take some planks that are just nearby, as it's necessary to get through some of the traps later with the planks. So it is recommended to wait for it to respawn and take multiple ones if you wish, completely up to you though. So walk south a little to where you should see another fork in the path, but do not go down south into the swampy area with the blessed spiders, or you'll be sucked down there. Instead you want to walk east towards a giant pit, and you'll notice there's some stone tablets spread throughout the tunnel which give you a clue on how to proceed further. So to get across the pit, this is what you need to do. So using one of the ropes in your inventory with the old spike on your side of the pit, you may find it hard to find where the old spike is. If you watch where my character's doing it, the spike literally is just in front of your character, and you want to make sure you actually have the use rope on the old spike option. When you do this, you'll create a rope balance to walk across. However, if you do fail, you'll fall into a giant pit and have to climb back up, starting from the very beginning of the pass again. So that's obviously what I mentioned earlier on in the video. You may need to get past certain bits several times depending on your fail rate on the traps and that. But hopefully, like me, you make it across the first time. So continue to follow the path until you see Koftik standing in front of a grid of mesh, and when you talk to him you'll realise that he is hearing voices slowly going out of his mind. Now you'll notice the area we're in now is basically a set of 5x5 squares. Now the objective of this is to get across to the other side by standing on the correct square. Now it's different for every player and you have to kind of do it in trial and error. So literally you need to step on one square at a time, going to the opposite end of the area. Now basically what you'll need to do is to keep trying each one until you obviously get the correct square the first time, and then go off from there. Now you can basically walk from square to square by either going straight ahead of you for the next one, or you can go diagonally to get the other two either side, as you'll notice what my character is doing. Now there is another little trick you can do, however this requires you to have the magic level to use the surge ability, which I'll quickly tell you now. So what you can do, if you stand literally right before the first square on your current side of the area and use the surge ability, you'll directly jump to the last square of the column, which will basically give you a 1 in 5 chance of getting the square correct. However, obviously if you're wrong and you have to climb back up, then you can obviously move down one and then try the surge ability again. So if you do have that, that will save you a massive amount of time. However, if you don't, you're going to have to do it the correct way. Now the one thing I will recommend, regardless of you having the surge ability or the non-surge ability, take note of what the actual order is to get across to the other side safely, for two reasons. One, if you fall down any more traps you may have to come across this bit again later, so you obviously want to remember. And also the sequel quest, Regicide, requires you to go through the underground pass again, and the squares in front of you will be exactly the same again, so it will just help you out for future sort of reference. Once you finally do get through to the other side, pull the lever to the south wall to get onto the other side of the gate. So in this next area you'll notice there is a furnace. Ignore it for the moment, but you're going to want to come back to it later. What you need to do is head to the narrow corridor just to the west of you. Now approach the hallway carefully, as there are 5 traps in the wall and they are both on different sides, so be very careful. And they're displayed as odd markings if you hover your mouse over them. Now again, if you have a level 34 magic and the surge ability, you can pass through these unharmed, so that's another little tricky, little handy trick to have. If not, you can right click to disarm the traps, depending on your thieving level. Obviously if you do fail, you will take some hits of life points damage from you. Now if you'll find your thieving level isn't really that high, like let's say for example you've only got a thieving level of 10, I wouldn't even bother trying to disarm the traps, as it's highly likely you're not going to do it and just end up causing damage to yourself. So it may be easy for you to just run straight through them all and just heal up where necessary, or like I said, if you have the surge ability you can use that to get your way through. So once you pass all the traps, you'll get to an area with a large and rather sinister looking well in the middle, and there's a book beside it and an altar. So what we need to do is, for this next bit, before you can go down the well, we need to collect 4 Orbs of Light and put them in the furnace that we passed a few minutes ago. Now each Orb of Light is in a different end of all the narrowing tunnels, so I'll talk you through what to do for each one. So if you start with the very north one, as this will be the easiest, again you can use Surge to pass through these if you want to. If not, you'll notice that there are some flat rocks. If you stand on these will activate a trap. However, if you collected the plank earlier, like I asked you to, you can use your plank on the flat rocks to disarm the trap. You can do this for all 3 of the traps until you get to the end of the tunnel with the Orb of Light, and you can collect that and then return back to where the well was using the same method again. So you want to go onto the northwest path now, which again is fairly easy. You can fight or run through the various spiders and level 96 ogres to grab the orb and then run back again. There's no real difficulty there. I wouldn't even bother fighting them, just literally run, grab the orb and come back. To the west, this is the same as the first one, so again you want to use your plank to get over the traps. There are 5 traps this time, or again you can use your surge ability to just zoom through them all, and once you're on the other end of the tunnel, collect the Orb of Light again. And then once you have the Orb of Light, return back to the centre area with the well. And now we want to take the southwest path, so walk through the tunnel. However, when you get to where the orb is, do not pick it up straight away, as there's actually a trap underneath it. So what you want to do is right click to see a flat stone, and you want to choose the option to search the flat stone to deactivate the trap. Now there's a little bit of a trick slash glitch here. Sometimes it will come up in your chat bar that the trap has been deactivated. However, the only way you know you've done it correctly is if you automatically grab the orb. So if it comes up that the trap's been deactivated but the orb is in your inventory, don't then try and pick it up, as you will be hit by a giant log, which will do quite a lot of damage to you. So basically just keep doing the search the flat rock option, and eventually you should grab the orb, and then you'll have all 4 in your inventory. So what we need to do now with the 4 orbs in our inventory, we want to backtrack a little bit to where the furnace was in the previous room. Now obviously you need to go past those traps in the wall again, so either use your thieving level to deactivate the traps, or use your surge ability to go through them all, or if you've not got either of those options, just run straight through them all and heal when you get to the other side. Once you're on the other side, you should see the furnace, and you want to use each of the orbs on the furnace to destroy them. And once you've done that to all 4, you'll now be able to climb down the well back in the centre room. Obviously you'll have to pass the traps one more time. And again, you've got the altar nearby, so if you wish to restore your prayer points, I would do so now. So once you've climbed down the well, you'll be in a new area of the underground pass, and you'll see Koftik nearby, who's sounding stranger than before. You want to head further down the cave, and you'll find yourself surrounded by cages. Following the passage leads to a dead end, so what we need to do is picklock the first cage on the southern wall, and you'll notice there's a rather odd looking patch of mud at the back of it, and you want to dig through the patch using the spade in your tool belt to find a hidden tunnel that will take you through to the other side. Once you're you're on the other side, you need to edge across the narrow ledge, and then you'll be near a maze of raised beams. You may fail crossing the ledge, which will cause a bit of damage, and you'll have to make your way back to cross it by going through the slave's cage again. If you keep failing it, it might be worthwhile you drinking a bit of your agility potion that you brought with you. That will hopefully improve your chance of crossing it. Now, for this bit with all like the raised ledges that we're going to have to travel across, there is another thing you can do. However, it requires you to have level 50 thieving, and that is you can use the shortcut, which is a little bit farther south, preventing any chance of falling onto the traps. And there's a door that you can pick lock for it. However, if you don't have the 50 thieving level like I didn't, you're going to have to get through via the beams. So basically all you're doing for this one is just keep going across the beams and jumping across the gaps in between them where you can. Now there is a bit of a fail rate for this as well, so be careful, you may fall off and have a bit of damage done to you. Again, if you're finding it's taking a long time to get through the agility bits, then drink some more of your potion to help boost it up. Now if you do fall off during it, you won't have to start back from the very beginning. There's kind of like checkpoints throughout it, so it's not as difficult as what it sounds. But yeah, you want to do that until you reach the other side. Once you're on the other side, you want to go south and pass through the obstacle pipe to get into the next area. Now in this area you'll find a unicorn in a cage. You want to search the cage and you'll find a piece of loose railing, and then you want to head south down the path leading to where the cage is, and you'll find a large boulder. You want to use the loose railing on the boulder to push it down, which will kill the unicorn, and then you need to go back down where the cage was and retrieve the unicorn horn by searching the wreckage. Once you have that, head north through the cave and you'll come to a small group of paladins who have made a camp in the tunnels. They're all level 81 and they're the different sirs I spoke about at the beginning. Now if you talk to Sagero, he'll give you 2 loaves of bread, 2 meat pies, a bowl of stew, a prior potion 2 dose and an attack potion 2 dose. Unfortunately for them, you need the paladins badges that they carry to proceed, so the only way to get those is by killing all of them. So you need to kill all 3 of them. There's no real tactic to these. They're fairly strong for a level 81, but you shouldn't struggle too much. Obviously if you've got the 43 prayer, you can use protect from melee, which will massively help, and also they gave you the food as well if you spoke to Sagero, which you can help defeat them. But overall you shouldn't have much trouble against them at all. Very important though, make sure you collect the different badges from them when they die, as you're going to need all 3 of these. So once you have all 3 badges, red, blue and green, you want to head a bit west, keeping your eyes out for the traps. Again, you can get past those by using the plank on them, and then you want to keep going west and you'll find another well. When you search the well, it reads feed me the crest of the blessed and the creature remains. So you want to use the 3 badges you collected from the paladins on the well and the unicorn horn on the well, and that will allow you to go through the large doors. So we're in the final area of the quest, which takes place in a very expansive cavern. Now this bit is the most frustrating part of the quest. Basically, when you're going to be travelling around the different parts like we will be in a few minutes, you've got to jump across various ledges which do have quite a high fail rate. What happens when you fail those, you end up in the pit and you have to go all the way sort of south to go back up, so it takes a bit of time to retrace your steps. But for now we're going to ignore the walkway, as you don't need to know any of these locations. So what you want to do first is head as far south as you can. You'll notice how large the cavern is while travelling. Once you reach the very south wall, go a little west and you'll notice there's some stairs in the wall. When you walk down them, you'll see Caustic appear again, ranting insanely before disappearing. Before he goes, he'll mention some dwarves that have taken up residence there and are the only ones immune to Lord Iban's power. So from where you are now, walk a bit west and enter a small cave to find them, and there are 3 dwarves named Niloof, Clank and Carmen in a small fenced area of 2 buildings. If you speak to Niloof, he'll give you some food when you talk to him. If you need more, this is the part where you can get the unlimited food. You can talk to Carmen, who will supply you with unlimited meat pies, stews and bread, and the way to get them, you can either buy some from him for 75 coins or accept his offer of a drink. If you do take the drink, it will cause you a bit of damage and hurt your agility, so I would recommend just paying the 75 coins for him. So once you're stocked up on some food and that, talk to Niloof to get to know about a witch named Cardia who knows how to kill Iban, and once he's told you that, we need to climb back up the staircase that we travelled down a minute ago and head northeast until you get to the southernmost of the many walkways from the ledge, and we need to walk across it to get to the south platform to reach Cardia's house. Now you will notice this is the bit where you're going to have to start jumping across the ledges, which do have the high fail rate. Before you jump the ledges, I would recommend having a dose of agility potion that will improve your chance at least a little bit of getting across it without failing too many times. If you fall, you will find you'll fall down the pit with loads of soulless, but if you keep heading south, you'll get to where the dwarves are and where the staircase was, and you can literally go back upstairs to carry on your progress. So once you make it across the wedges to Cardia's house, listen at her window and you'll hear her talking to herself about her missing cat. Don't attempt to open the door or the witch will take a lot of life points off you. So this is what we need to do to find the cat. You need to head north and take a left and then hop across the gap. And then take the north branch of the path and continue along it until you reach a platform. Once you're at the platform, look at your mini-map and you should see a yellow dot, which is the cat, and you want to head towards the dot to pick it up. Once you have your cat in the in your inventory, you want to return to the witch's house back the way you came. Now make sure you do not drop the cat or it will run away and hide, and if this happens you'll have to wait around for a while for it to reappear at the same location where you first got it, and obviously that will mean you have to go back. While you're heading back to Cardia's house, you may fall down a trap again, but like you did before, just climb back up the staircase to get back on track. But once you're at Cardia's house, you want to use the cat on the door and you automatically hide behind the corner while the witch gets her cat. And while she's distracted, you can sneak into her house and search the chest, and you'll get a stat restore potion, a super attack potion, the History of Iban and the Adult of Iban. Reading the book written by Cardia provides you with the information on how Iban was made and how you can kill him, and you need to destroy him exactly the same way he was resurrected, by collecting 4 elements of his life: flesh, blood, shadow and conscience, and imbuing them with his effigy. Only when this is done can you finally kill him, ending his control. So what we need to do now is go back to the dwarfs that we spoke to earlier, so I'll speak to you again once you get to them. Once you're back with the dwarfs, you want to talk to Clank and he'll give you Clanks Gauntlets, as you're going to need these in a little while. Next you want to grab a bucket from the large building and then go into the smaller one, and you want to use the bucket on the barrel inside to get some of the dwarf brew that Carmen was giving you earlier. You want to take this and head to the far southeast corner of the area where the tomb of Iban is located. Use the bucket of alcohol on top of the tomb and then light it up with your tinderbox. After you've done watching it burn, a pile of Iban's ashes will be left behind. If your inventory is full, you'll have to search the tomb to find the ashes, but once you have them, use the item on the doll, and that'll be one thing down and free to go. Now what we need to do is head straight north from Iban's tomb and keep going past all of the soulless until you reach a corridor full of blessed spiders. Walk to the end of the enclosed area to find a giant level 81 spider named Calrag. This venomous spider fed on Iban's body, draining it of blood, so she must be killed in order to smear his blood upon the doll. When you defeat her, she's not too difficult, just general sort of spider. Watch your life points while fighting. Again, you should have had plenty of food from from the dwarf. So if you do find you're getting low on food, you can go back and restock if need be. But when you do defeat her, you'll automatically soak up the blood with your doll, but you may want to run, as a lot of the nearby spiders will immediately attack you with range because you've basically killed their leader. So just get out of the area so they can stop attacking you. What we need to do now is run back upstairs, but this time we're going to go in the northwestern corner of the area, as it's easier for us to go to the next bit. Again, if you need some extra food, if you're running low from the fight, just go back and restock and then head to the staircase in the northwest. So to imbue Iban's spirit into the doll, you need to find the dove that was murdered by Cardia. The dove sat inside an old wooden cage. Now make sure you've got your Clanks Gauntlets equipped for this bit, otherwise you'll be taking a lot of damage. So head to the northwest corner of the area near the maze of walkways, and you'll see there's several cages with half soulless in them. Now what you're going to need to do for this bit is search every cage, and eventually you'll find the skeletal remains of Iban's dove. If you're not wearing your gauntlets, the half soulless will bite you and cause damage. Now the cage is different for each player, and you'll notice there's a load on the ground level, and also if you kind of pan your camera up, you'll notice there's some on a higher bit as well, which I think you do need to jump across a couple of gaps in the ledges in order to reach. So hopefully, if you're lucky, the dove is only in one of the nearby cages, saving you some time, but you will find it takes your character a few seconds to search each cage, so this bit will be a little bit tedious, but literally just keep searching all of the cages until you find the skeletal dove, and then once you have it, use that on the doll. So we need to get the last thing, which is Iban's shadow, and to get that we need to kill 3 level 78 demons named Dumion, Ulfanion and Holfion, who are the keepers of Iban's shadow. Now the demons are located near where Cardia the witch's house is, so what you want to do is head to the southwest corner and head to Cardia's house, and then I'll tell you which way to start heading from there. So you want to head north of the witch's house and take the first left, and at the next platform head south all the way down until you reach where the demons are. Now there's several gaps in the ledges separating each demon, so it may be a bit of a pain and you'll end up falling down the gaps while you're trying to kill all 3, but basically when you kill each demon they'll drop a relevant amulet of their name, so either Dumion, Ulfanion and Holfion. Make sure you pick them up before you jump back across the gap. I know I made an error at this bit and forgot to pick up one of the amulets, and when I went back to jump across the ledge I ended up falling down into a pit, which was very annoying, so do make sure you collect the amulets after you kill them. Again, you shouldn't have any major trouble against the demons, they are fairly easy for their level, and once you have all 3 you want to head north of where Dumion was to reach a chest, and opening it will destroy the amulets of each keeper and give you Iban's shadow, and you want to use it on the doll. So now we have successfully created Iban's effigy, we need to head to Iban's temple, which is in the very heart of the cavern. If you open up your world map, you'll see the large circular area in the middle of the cavern. You can choose to get there by either taking a path with 5 broken bridges, which are along the same path where the witch is, or you can take a path with 4 broken bridges, which is at the very northmost walkway. So it's up to you which way you go, but like I said, if you look at the world map you can see where you're going, and you just need to jump across some of the gaps in order to reach that area. So once you eventually make it to the center area, you need to kill a disciple of Iban to get a pair of Zamorak robes. Now make sure the Zamorak robes are all you're wearing, else you will not be able to enter the temple, even if you're wearing other Zamorakian items. So this next part of the quest can be tricky to get through, though you don't have to actually fight Iban. What you need to do is use the doll on the well in the centre of the room once you go through the door. What makes it hard is that Iban will detect the doll in your possession and start launching spells at you, numerous bolts of blood red lightning all at the same time, which cause 100+ damage on impact and knock you back to the entrance. So what is the recommendation really is to run as close to Iban himself as possible, as he casts fewer spikes in his vicinity. And you want to try and time it so you run where there are no magical spikes, and then what you want to do is keep trying to use the doll on the well, and then hopefully your character should run straight up to the well and throw it down there, which will instantly stop all the attacks. Again, if you have the Surge ability, you may well be able to use Surge to get straight to the well and then use the Dole on it straight away if you're lucky. But there's, that's only really the two main tactics. You will eventually do it, just be careful not to take too much damage, as you don't want to have to be heading back to the dwarves for more food, as you're going to have to come all this way otherwise. But after throwing the Dole in the well, you'll automatically receive Iban Staff, 15 Death Runes and 30 Fire Runes, and you'll be teleported out. You'll find yourself in a cavern where you'll find Koftik, who will appear to be sane again now that he isn't under Iban's control anymore. You want to leave the cavern, and Koftik will lead you back to the entrance. And once we're outside of the underground pass, we want to go back to East Ardone Castle and talk to King Lafast to complete the quest. So, after you've spoken to the king, he will congratulate you for navigating through the underground pass, and it will come with congratulations, you completed the underground pass quest. You awarded 5 quest points, 3000 agility and attack experience, Iban Staff, 15 Death Runes, 30 Fire Runes, Clanks Gauntlets, 2 Treasure Hunter Keys, and 2 Hearts of Ice. Whew, so, I bet you're having a sigh of relief at this point. Very long quest, especially the bit with jumping all over the gaps in the bridge. That will be very infuriating for you guys, I know, but there's no other way around it. I think even if you had 99 agility, you'd still end up failing on some of those bits. It's all mostly down to sheer luck, so hopefully you're having a lucky day when you do this quest. The rewards, not exactly great for this quest, considering how long it takes you. However, this quest is required to do 2 high-level quests, which get you even better rewards, which are Legends Quest and Regicide. Like I mentioned earlier on in the guide, for Regicide, you're going to have to go through the underground pass all over again. But hopefully, when you do that quest, you should remember most of what you did. So you'll probably find it's a lot easier your second time round. Like I said, I tried to cover every bit of the underground pass, and hopefully you shouldn't run into any problems following what I said. If there's any particular bits you get stuck at, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll try and talk you through it as best I can. But if not, thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Cheers guys, bye bye.